Stream should be live now. Coming in for the semifinal match in the lower bracket of the Capital One Circuit 2016. I'm Sprintspeed right here, joined with my fellow co-caster. If you want to introduce yourself real quick.
Hey guys, my name is Kokmaw. Currently just casting alongside Reza, got knocked out in the semifinals of the upper bracket, and just looking for a way to stay involved and add some entertainment for you guys. So hopefully we've got a good match, good series coming up.
Yeah, and I know you're really feeling for this blue team right here. Their name is Feels Bad and getting knocked out in the semis. So close. I bet you can empathize with that feeling bad.
Yeah, both of these teams. I mean, it's a shame, you know. It's on one side, like, you feel really good that you got so far, but getting so far and falling in a devastating 2-0 manner, not the best. Man. Not the best.
Yeah, I actually got knocked out in the quarters myself. You were casting my game. Just a shout out there. If you guys want to check out Kokmaw's stream, but yeah, that was
first time streaming. Cast was a little rough. One person cast, not ideal, so I'm happy to be joined with my co-host here.
Yeah, I definitely know what that feels like. I've done many a solo cast. You definitely get winded after a while, mouth getting dry, but it can be pretty fun in its own right.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, for those who are listening, like, you don't need to be, you know, double lifter Bjergsen to cast a game. Like, feel free, definitely contact Reza. He definitely understands casting better than I do, but let's get some more people involved, because definitely adds a lot of like life to the UMCP League community. Gets people watching more games than otherwise they wouldn't.
Hey man, I just love spreading the esports hype. Hello, QuickBand Ace in the chat, giving me one shout out. I'll throw that right back at you and to Arraquez in my League client. But yeah, I just love casting. I started doing it back with Devin Gajewski, who is president of the UMD StarCraft Club and a pretty decent friend of mine from my high school, actually. Right now, you might be able to find him every now and then going, because he actually plays professional, I think, PM and Smash 4. But yeah, he got really involved in the Smash scene, so he actually casts for them. He goes to some tournaments, and he's ranked nationally as like one of the best Nest players, I believe.
Oh, so that's really impressive.
Shout out to ResLiv.
For Melee or Brawl?
I know he used to play Brawl, but that was back when Smash 4 wasn't out, because then he graduated before me. But I think he plays. He was one of the best UMD players at like just jet all the games combined. Like, he used to play a bit of all of them, but I think he's competitive in Smash 4 or PM, Project M. If any of you are unaware with what Project M is, basically they on the Wii they took Brawl, like Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and they kind of tuned some of the mechanics to make it more like its predecessor, Super Smash Bros. Melee, just making it a little more punishing, because a lot of the competitive scene really appreciates the ability to really outskill your opponent, which Brawl makes it a little more difficult to do. But
yeah, I remember watching a couple of VODs with the some of the big professional Melee players like Mango and Mewtwo King and those guys, and they were talking about how one of the big problems with Brawl is that it felt too clunky. Like, they felt like they weren't able to make as quick and punishing combos as they could in Melee. So Project M is definitely a great way for those of you who are looking to keep up with the Melee style mechanics with the, you know, newer version of the Super Smash Bros. Genre.
Yeah. I always, whenever somebody mentions Melee, I always think of that one video where after HBox won Evo, that he was doing like a drunk celebration stream, and then they invited a pizza guy after they ordered pizza to come in and play against them, and this guy just absolutely wrecks this poor pizza delivery person just doing his job, trying to live his life, and absolutely humiliates him on stream playing Jigglypuff. But it was pretty fun to see, and I'm sure that guy didn't experience too much trauma from it. Right now we are just waiting for a little bit of the remainder of Team 8 so far. Looks like that, I guess, Arafay chose the blue side.
Rosa, can you go ahead and just give a shout out, or just let the people know, like, what your Twitch channel is, so if they want to go ahead and watch this on Twitch, follow the chat where they can find you at.
Oh yeah, true. I normally, when I stream tournaments, it's usually for the Maryland, so that'll all be on this twitch.tv/UMDLOL. But I also have my own personal channel I don't really use very often. That's just /Sprintspeed. If you want to know how to spell it, it's just up here because I'm my League client. But yeah, you guys can check me out there. Also, if you want to stay in touch with more events we're doing in the future, you can go to facebook.com/groups/UMCPLOL. Actually, I'll type that in the chat real quick. Yeah, I don't do a ton of stuff. I don't do a ton of stuff individually in terms of casting and stuff, but I like to do stuff with the club, and sometimes I'll cast for some different schools if I have some people and they looking for a caster. But yeah, if any of you are wondering why I'm actually using the legacy client right here, the old ugly one, I do really like the new beautiful client, but last time I tried streaming, I had some weird issues in terms of spectating through the new client because it's still in the beta. It's not like fully released yet, and for some reason just wasn't letting me spectate. And I also had some issues in OBS because the new client wouldn't really show up as a captured window. So that got kind of complicated. So for this cast, I'm just sticking with the old one. It's old but gold. We don't really need any of the fancy new features for the cast anyways.
Yeah, I'm actually using the old client as well. As much as I love the aesthetics of the newer client, I've heard some people saying that they've been having just a couple small issues with it, whether it be with lag or some other problem, which I guess is to be expected since it's only in beta, but I'm definitely very excited for when it comes out. Like fully stocked with all the features we want, no problems. But the old client will always have a special place in my heart. See me through good days and bad, mostly bad, but
just all those solo queue games that you can never get back.
Oh, love me some solo queue. Nothing like going on a 5-game win streak, getting up a division, next day losing 5 games, dropping back down, and realizing that you just wasted 5 hours of your time.
You literally could have done literally nothing with those entire 5 hours, and you still would have been in a better spot in terms of your ranking. That's always the worst feeling. But in terms of improving at the game, hopefully you can gain something from the losses, even if you didn't pull out the W.
For sure. Like, you should always be playing with the mindset going in, like, what can I do to improve? You don't necessarily need to focus on winning, but and one of the great things about the new client is definitely the replay feature. I'm for sure going to be using that as much as I can, just to take a look at some outplays, but also some of the misplays that I had, and seeing where I could have done better. But for those of you that are really looking to improve, watch a lot of streams, read as many blogs and articles as you can, play as much as you can, and just really pay attention on the fundamentals, and then what you can be doing to improve. Like, I feel like most people go into games just thinking like, okay, I'm just going to play, we're just going to win, but you're not really like actively thinking about what you should be doing, even if it's small things like trading or paying attention to objectives. Definitely be looking for, even if you think it's just like a small thing, keep an active mind as you're playing.
Yeah, definitely, I hear you. Also, on the Facebook group page, under the files, I actually upload a PowerPoint that I made last year while I was co-president of the League of Legends club here at the university. Just talking about some psychological concepts that you really hit on, getting like specific incremental things you can improve on and target in your gameplay so that you're actually getting a lot of value out of each and every one of your games. So you guys,
I was actually there for that live presentation. I remember
nice.
that. Yeah, I remember that that LAN party that we had, and it's definitely one of the things. I'm doing part-time writing for Dignitas, and I was considering also doing a little bit of like psychological research, as I did study psychology for a bit, and there's a lot of psychology and mental aspects that go into playing League, aside from just mechanics and macro and micro. There are so many things that you can do outside of the game and just prepping yourself for the game to improve how you play and also your mentality going in. I mean, mentality, like, you never want to end on a sour note or play if you're not feeling good, because you're just not going to play as well, and it's just going to put you in a downward spiral. But definitely take a look at Rez's PowerPoint if he still has it, because it's really poignant in how people should go into games and how people should react from both victories and losses. I mean, you can learn just as much from both. So definitely take a look at that if you have the time.
Yeah, for sure. And also feel free to link any if you've published any work through Dignitas already. That'd be super sweet. Give him a little shout out.
I actually yeah. So most of the articles that I've done so far have been interviews and reviews of certain players. I've done one about Forgiven and another about Splice and how they took the summer EU LCS by storm. I'll actually have an article posted tomorrow about lethality and AD carry changes.
Nice.
Particularly referring to Jhin, Draven, Misfortune, and Lucian. So I'll be posting that tomorrow if you guys want to go ahead and take a look at it. I really appreciate it.
Giving us the inside scoop for Premiere analysis content. I like it.
Oh, of course. Also, Dignitas is looking for people to write for them. So if you're really passionate in writing or anything like that and don't mind doing a little bit of I mean, it's not really unpaid. You do get compensated with like merchandise and stuff like that. And if you are really, really dedicated, they'll even hire you for a full spot on their team. So go ahead and check it out. I can link the Reddit post that the head of content over at Dignitas sent to Facebook for any of you who would be interested in something like that, because they could use a lot of writers. So I mean, definitely if you give them a shout and you have the criteria isn't really super difficult. Just have to, have good English skills, have a decent understanding of the game, at least like silver or gold ranking or something like that. So if you're big into writing and don't mind doing analytical article work or even just interviews, go ahead and give them a shout. They're definitely really looking for people who are motivated and willing to put in the time to get some content out there.
All right. Soon we'll be taking Dignitas by storm. They, I know Overwatch has announced that they're planning on geolocalizing cities for the Overwatch League, so maybe if Dignitas gets enough Maryland riders, we can bring it over to Washington, D.C., because the capital of the United States has very, very few esports events, and it really breaks my heart that we have to drive 5 hours if we want to do anything, because they're all in, like, New York, but nothing down in D.C., and the closest thing we have to gaming, I guess, is usually Otakon, which is really big, but that's not even so much esports as it is anime and some kind of video game culture.
Right. Yeah. And again, like for Dignitas, it doesn't have to be strictly related to League. If you're big into Overwatch, StarCraft, Rocket League, any kind of like video games or esports in general, go ahead. If you have a passion for that kind of thing, I absolutely encourage it. It's a great way to get your name out there. And who knows? I mean, they've had people get picked up by Riot or LoL Esports, and it would be a great opportunity if that's something that you're really looking forward to doing.
Looks like there's a little bit of confusion in the chat. I'm just kind of going through some of this. It's kind of difficult while talking at the same time, but it looks like somebody's having internet issues, and then maybe somebody is in a custom game at the moment, which would be a little confusing. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're just checking out their settings, making sure they don't go into a tournament game with their key bindings wrong or something like that. Here's the deal. Okay, so Popo Yuambro wants to delay an hour. I guess it's up to the other team. I'm personally, my timetable is open to cast in an hour. I'm not sure if you need to like wake up early tomorrow or something, Kokmaw, but
no, I have no Friday classes, so I mean, if he needs an hour, I can just sit around, finish up my article, and it's really all dependent on the players at this point. I can't blame the opposing team for saying, we just don't have the time or anything like that. It's gonna have to be a forfeit, but hopefully they can reach some sort of resolution. I'm down to cast. Yeah, but it looks like it's gonna be up to.
That'd be super sad if so anti-hype if we get all this way just to have a forfeit.
Yeah, I thought we opened up really well. We were talking about a whole bunch of different topics.
Felt super
ready
comfortable. I wouldn't want all this just to go to waste, but we could upload it as, just a hangout time with Kokmaw and Sprintspeed, just getting to know each other, talking about some great things in the Maryland community.
And if you guys have, any requests or topics you would want us to look over, feel free to hit us up on Facebook or in the Twitch chat, which would, obviously be easier as it's a more immediate outlet to take a look at. Because yeah, it's all about putting content out there for the community and bringing us closer together. Honestly, I've been playing League for like 5 years. It's one of my biggest passions, but I've never really been super involved in the UMD LoL community here outside of doing the tournaments, which I absolutely love. So, I'm seeing this as an opportunity to really get to know some of you guys, make some duo queue partners, and just, talk about something that we all share a passion or hobby for. And it looks like they said they'll be able to wait till 11
o'clock. So we got 12 minutes left to go just to hang out a bit. I'm pretty excited for the All-Stars tournament coming up. I'm really happy that...
That's on December 7th, right? Or...
I believe it's that weekend. Yeah, I guess it starts next Wednesday.
Yeah, the 7th, I think. Yeah, that's going to be super, super entertaining.
Yeah,
definitely
one of my favorite things that's going to come back is the return of giphycat.com/annual shallow black widow spider. We can finally see some of that Afro Moo double lift love coming back into the scene, because I don't think they're ever going to be on a team again. So, as a CLG fan myself, I just feel really sad that we lost that GIF seemingly forever, but we can see that versus Mad Life.
Head every now and then.
It reemerges. Right now it's that, I guess, what's it called? Lemon Nation nodding his head.
Oh, the Lemon Nation GIF. Everybody knows it by its URL, too.
I recognize the URL, but I have some trouble recalling exactly the letter. It's like KW something, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like KYZ something something, but yeah, quality GIF.
Oh man. Then I don't know if any of you guys are into American football at all, but in the NFL subreddit, they have something like a similar thing with a picture of Peyton Manning just like looking in a training camp, like looking back, and it's a really crappy quality picture, and it just looks like a potato, and he has this really weird mask on because it was really cold when he took the picture, so it just looks like a weird like kid staring into the camera. But people just randomly post it in a Rickroll kind of style, so they're almost the same memes, and even every now and then I'll see like one of the memes transferred to the League of Legends or NFL subreddit, like, oh my gosh, this shouldn't even be here. But it's always bittersweet getting Rickrolled or trolled in that kind of sense.
Or Lemon Nationed.
I'm like, I'm kind of mad, but I can't really be mad. Like, look at this. This is a great...
I can't be mad with the Lemon Nation GIF. It's just so quality. I mean, that man, he's a gem. He's a gem. And if you want to see some more hype for Lemon Nation, definitely take a look at. It's an old VOD. Travis Gafford of Yahoo. I mean, some of you just may know him as Travis. He interviews Sneaky's sister. And Sneaky's sister seems to love Lemon Nation. She always gives Travis, or during the interview, she gives Travis a bunch of crap about not talking about Lemon Nation or how great Lemon Nation is, and he's just sitting there laughing about the whole thing. Seems like a quality guy.
Holy cow. I remember that interview like a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's old. It's like a 3-year interview or something like that.
The whole Cloud9 roster is just full of hilarious people, and I guess it runs in the family if Sneaky's sister's going along with it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, Cloud9 definitely seems like one of the most fun. I mean, you've got Mimios and Sneaky.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and then they had Rush on there for a little. Rush has been great recently. I mean, that man must be having so much fun streaming, making that mad streamer money, and his English is impeccable. It'd be really sad not to see him in the competitive scene again, because he definitely has the skills for it, and communication doesn't seem like it'd be that big of an issue.
Yeah, I'm super surprised just how fluent not only his use of like words is, but just his pronunciation. It sounds like reliably like an American accent, and you can kind of tell like maybe he's not like a native English speaker, but the way he pronounces the word. I don't know who he has as a vocal coach or what kind of programs he's been using, but they've found something that works over there, or whoever he's
definitely
been with.
I mean, I don't know if it's just like the 3 years that he's been in North America with like TIP and whatnot, or just that. I mean, the coaching there was really good. But you look at some of the other Korean players that have spent time in America. Like Piglet spent what 2 years, I think, in America.
Yeah, Seraph. He was the first Korean over, and I don't think I've ever
English
heard.
Is actually no, his English is
Really?
good too.
Oh, okay,
actually,
okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm glad. I just don't remember him doing any interviews.
He didn't really do any. I don't know.
Maybe
if it
he's
was,
just
like,
not quite as expressive as some of the others.
Yeah, exactly. But the few times that he did speak English, his English was way, way better on TDK than it ever was on CLG, which I mean, I guess comes with the extra year or so that he had in North America. But his English now is pretty comparable to like Hooney or Rainover's.
Nice.
Perhaps even better. I can't say for sure because he's not as vocal or anything like that. But
right. I'm sorry, Sarah, for slinging shade at our small viewer count.
You're
just hanging out.
You're a CLG fan. Gotta have some respect for the man who got bullied out of CLG.
Yeah, well, back when he was on CLG, I was actually, I really started liking Zion Spartan when I started getting into the league scene, because I watched like the Season 2 World Championships, and then I didn't really watch the first season of the LCS, but I really started the LCS getting into it more heavily when Zion Spartan and Shifter joined Dignitas. So I was first just a Dignitas fan because I like Zion. Then when he moved with CLG, that was when the big exodus, when all like the big personalities left the team. So I also kind of migrated with that. And then I've kind of since just like Chronologic Gaming since then.
Yeah, they're definitely a very likable squad. I mean, it's hard not to appreciate the teamwork that they have. I mean, they don't necessarily have the most experienced individual players except for Aframu, who's just incredible in terms of being a leader, his micro sense, his macro sense and his micromanagement. But I mean, you look at all the other players except for, I think Zion was particularly good. It was the end of season. It was all of season 5 actually. He was incredible. But aside from that, they never really had like a star-studded roster after Double Lift left. So it's great to see how. I mean, look at MSI. That's a perfect example of how teamwork definitely outshines, individual skill. And I mean, for as much shade as who he gets, it seems like whatever he does with the team that we don't see works really well. And I guess that's their reason for not replacing him, even if they could get somebody more mechanically skilled, and it would free up an import slot. But I mean,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely didn't win a lane all the time, and especially in the NALCS summer. Shout out to the Huhi Azir meme. But he did pull out that Aurelion Soul. He absolutely smashed at Worlds with that champion. So it's not like he's always just a weight on the team that is dragging around.
His rise at MSI was perfect. I mean, his rise showed up really, really well. I think it's probably I would say it's his personality. He definitely has some good macro skills. His roaming is very, very good. And his team fighting is good too, which is why I think even though he's not particularly lane dominant, and CLG isn't the kind of team that wins or loses based off just one person's performance. They definitely thrive off the teamwork and their ability to come back from behind, which they exhibited against Team Liquid. I think it was spring quarterfinals. The series was tied 2-2. This is when Loco was smashing his key. It might have actually been season 6 spring. But yeah, the series was tied 2-2. Liquid looked like they had it for sure, and CLG just stuck with it. You can look at the contrast between how CLG and Team Liquid is in terms of playing from behind and their cohesion as a team in general. They don't need the individual talent that a team like Team Liquid had with Dardoch and Piglet and Phoenix. I mean, they're just a well-oiled machine with the people that they have and their ability to just read the game as a 5-man team. as opposed to just playing off their individual strengths.
Yeah, it's kind of been the great American tragedy of Team Liquid, where they're always like a good team, but they've always
Forever.
forever fourth. But I mean, that's really actually representative of the kind of problems they've had, where they've had such star-studded rosters, and even this season, when they got rid of a lot of their top-tier talent, the rookies they brought in and trained were really impressive to me, at least. And they just have never really quite been able to eke out a lot of those rough edges to be able to get the clean, crisp shot calls and game endings, or just like macro play in general, not necessarily limited to the end game. But especially like right when they brought Piglet over, they had a special man. That roster was looking top tier, and then just never quite made it.
Yeah, I think the issue with Team Liquid has always been a combination of the management and the individual players themselves. Um, when you have junglers who, I mean, I will dominate near the end of his tenure with Team Liquid was, I thought he was extremely good. He definitely worked as a teammate much better than we have ever seen Dardoch work. Even though Dardoch might have the mechanical prowess to better Team Liquid in terms of just, like his jungle pressure and his mechanics, yeah, that might suit them better. And he's young. I mean, he has a lot of room to grow. I think that the problem with Team Liquid, yeah, it was some of their individual players, like especially in the jungle position. I think Dom was just like it was coming to be the end of his time, and Dardoch just didn't have the mentality to drive the team. There were so many issues with Piglet and Dardoch, and I think that Phoenix just kind of played like a backseat role. I mean, he was pretty hard to work with too. You can look at some of Mark Zimmerman's VODs talking about Phoenix's issues with warding and stuff like that, and he was also a little tough to work with. It looks like it's hard to put any one person at fault. Yeah, you can throw a lot of blame at Dardoch, saying like, oh, he's just, toxic in game. He can't play from behind. He just wants to move on to the next one. But the only real person that you can give credit to is Matt. He seems to be the only real anchor and reasonable, logical player on that team that you can look to. I've always been super impressed with Matt as a supporter. I think it's a shame that he didn't quite have the showing that he wanted to this split. But I remember when he first came on, man, that guy was a monster of a rookie, and he came in super humble, very easy to work with. The only support that Piglet really had good things to say about in NA. So it's sad to
being
see.
a world champion, that's pretty high praise.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that it's going to be difficult for Team Liquid. They're going to have to start with a whole new roster. I thought Fabi he did his job in the beginning of the season, and then he just tapered off. I thought going into playoffs and during playoffs, he just wasn't playing nearly as well as Piglet may have, but clearly they had issues there that only Fabi was able to resolve. They had those jungle issues, and they had to put Arc second in, and it was just like this whole thing. I like where Lorlo and Matt are and should head, assuming that Team Liquid finds a roster that can mesh. Phoenix is doing all right. I think it's really just going to be on how this new AD carry and jungle. Well, they've got Reignover now, which is going to be. You can't not be hyped about Reignover.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, that is confirmed actually.
Right, nice.
Yeah, Team Liquid picked up Reignover, so that should be huge. I think now it just depends on the AD carry. I don't know who they're going to find. They don't have any import slots left. They're gonna have to pick up some NA talent. They might be able to get Apollo. There's been some talk about Wild Turtle joining Dignitas for a boot camp, and seeing if he does well there, because the Wild Turtle is no longer with Immortals. So if they can get an AD carry who is consistent as Fabi was, while being able to have a bigger impact aside from just good Ashe arrows, they should be in a good spot. I think Lorlo coming into the end of the season and middle of summer split was looking great. Matt just needs to find an AD carry that will work better with him than Fabi. And they've got Reignover and Phoenix. Like, I think Reignover is gonna make Phoenix look a lot better. Especially because they have, the Korean, that innate Korean synergy. I'm looking forward to Team Liquid this season. Honestly, as much garbage as they get for, Forever Fourth and stuff like that, change some of the management around. They're looking strong. I would say top four for sure. Because you can never put them lower than that.
Yeah.
But I could easily see them competing with CLG or Cloud9 for third place.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Or maybe second place now that Immortals is no longer like a top.
Now that they're kind of piecing out. I guess we've yet to see what the new TSM AD carry will be. But just
as a TSM fan since season 2, I'm really looking forward to that. I was pretty disappointed with IEM Oakland, not because of Wild Turtle's performance. I think that Turtle definitely had some really good games. He tried. He had to fill in, the shoes of Doublelift. And you have to remember that, like, Doublelift for TSM was a huge shot caller, which is really, really hard to do as an AD carry. As an AD carry main and somebody who, at least I think I have a decent understanding of macro, it is tough to manage your micro like mechanics with shot calling. Doublelift is pretty one of a kind in that regard. So can't really blame TSM for not showing up at IEM Oakland. Huge shout out to Unicorns of Love. That was incredible. So happy for them.
They finally got their first place.
Oh my gosh, it's been so long.
I'm really happy that Unicorns of Love have been able to kind of carve their own identity somewhat just through these IEM appearances, because they've actually done really well in the LCS, all things considered, especially being like a new challenger team coming in, placing...
And a team they have like...
Yeah, almost...
the same amount of finances as any other...
Yeah, definitely. But being able to consistently show up decent performances at IEMs and then winning on the international stage, that's super awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially considering that, like, they could have made it to Worlds. They had a really, really close 5-game series against Splice, but they were still considered more or less, like, a lower middle of the pack team, especially since, Kikis left and Power of Evil left. But I think I am really so happy for Exile. I mean, in the beginning of the season, that guy looked like he didn't really have a place in the LCS, but my goodness, his performances in the end, like during their playoff run and in IEM Oakland, I mean, that guy is young and promising.
Super.
And I hope, like with Vizichachi and Hylissang, he stays with them as opposed to, getting offered double the salary from some other team, because he can really help shape Unicorns of Love into being a top contender again during the regular season.
So many times you just see people come into like a team that's not in the best shape, and you see them kind of perform in a mediocre fashion, or not very they're not really shining in a particular way. But people like Exile, they can just, over the course of a season, when you're grinding day in and day out, just having the mental resilience and the focus to be able to recognize the areas that you need to get better at, and then actually work toward doing that in an effective manner, is either both really impressive coaching as well as a super astounding effort by the player. And I also want to bring it back to Doublelift, because for years he was known as the split push AD carry, like, wow, Doublelift, okay, this person that had no real contribution in terms of macro stuff. And then this last year,
especially on CLG,
he
was
just
a huge split push king,
coming
let him farm and reach his power spikes.
Yeah, his development as a professional player under the top percentage, just not really being challenged mentally and not being forced to take command in that shot calling position, so then never really developing the skills. After 5 years of playing, to be able to come and teach this old dog some actual new tricks, I have mad respect for Doublelift, and I really hope that he comes back in the summer season, because Obviously, he says he plans to currently, but I mean, I can understand if the allure of just streaming full time can be a little bit distracting in that respect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd be happy with a $20 an hour job. Like that guy's making mad bank, streaming, playing League of Legends. It's gotta be tough. I mean, I'm sure Cutie Pie and Scar will tell you the same thing. Like, go ahead and watch their. By the way, go ahead and watch their Beyond the Rift stuff. This is not like a shameless plug. I have no affiliation with either of them. But Beyond the Rift is definitely an entertaining and educational channel to watch. And they talk about a lot of the hot, like, pressing topics that we look at in League of Legends today. Whether it be like, I mean, they just did one with the the NA scouting grounds, and they also talked about like double lift and the streaming and stuff like that. So it's definitely a good place to get some professional insight on a regular basis, and I hope that they keep doing that for a long time, because it's entertaining and it's educational, and it's got the pie, man. Like, what else do you need?
I'm sure that has no affiliation to your Dignitas employment.
Dude, I've tried. Hey man, I've tried.
Old
I've asked if I can get an interview with Cutie Pie. They're like, yeah, he doesn't have any affiliation with us anymore.
Damn.
I mean, I was like,
Dignitas getting bought out, I guess, would mean that there's no actual connection. But
no, but even like before they got bought out too. But that,
okay.
I mean, yeah, I think he's an independent donger right now.
It's like,
so.
yeah, thanks for the memories. I'm taking my whopping girthy. Member.
My 2 mil, my sweet 2 mil, and leaving.
Yeah, living the good life.
Yeah, but I think back to your point about the TSM 80 carry, there've been some recent rumors about Prey joining, and I'm not like gonna like harp on that or anything. Obviously take any rumors you hear with a grain of salt. This whole offseason has just been. I thought last season and the season before
was
that
crazy,
had crazy off seasons. This is ridiculous. Everybody's getting Koreans left and right. Peanut joins SKT. Bangy and Duke leave, and they might be going to somewhere in Europe. Who knows? Pilot from Genera Green Wings left, and he's now joining Paris Saint-Germain. Like, people are just going
Props
everywhere.
to Yellow Star. He's involved in that.
Like, be prepared every day to look at the League of Legends subreddit, because some crazy news about somebody leaving or this person joining that other team is for sure gonna pop up. I think if TSM were like, let's go ahead and just speculate that the rumors about TSM and Prey are true. I think that it's still going to be difficult for TSM, because I think Prey and Doublelift are pretty similar mechanically. Prey might have a bit better mechanics, just because. But it's easy to show that when you're on like a better team. But even against SKT, like, he was playing against the best of the best, even though he was with one of the best teams.
Right.
So it's easy to say that, like, yeah, he had his team to back him up and stuff like that. So we'll give the benefit of the doubt and say that Prey and Doublelift have equal mechanics, which I'm not saying is true. I think
it's fair to say it's reasonably equal, and that won't make like a huge difference, because TSM has already had a dominant bot lane. So adding Prey into the mix when you're playing against the same LCS teams, I don't think it's going to be like hugely different, because they're still going to get the same types of leads that they would with Doublelift.
Well, I speculate it might actually be a bit worse, because they're not going to have the macro with Prey unless his English is better than I assume it is, but I can't imagine it's nearly as good as like Rush or Reynovers.
If Doublelift has been contributing, yeah,
they're gonna have to figure out a way to fill the hole in that macro play that Doublelift offered. Which again, even if, let's say, Prey speaks perfect English, it's so hard for a non-jungle or support, or maybe even a top player, to have really good macro, because you have to focus so much on your lane, just like dodging skill shots, farming. It's really, really hard in the early game, and even in the late game too, when you're trying to position yourself to make quality shot calls. So it's going to be difficult for TSM for sure. I think that they'll still end up in like top 2 probably, but whether or not they get Prey or like some native 80 carry, it's going to be, well, I think I actually think they have to get a North American AD carry.
They
Or no,
they
no,
still have
Bjergsen has
they still have Sven
residency. I forgot
Skjern
about
though.
that. Yeah, but
So
yeah, they can still
they'd
get
be
one more.
limited to
I
Prey.
forgot. Yeah, yeah. I forgot that that Bjergsen has residency, so they can still pick up one other person. But it's really really tough to say, you know, even if they get an elite
Yeah.
AD carry like Prey, whether or not they'll be able to show up like they did last split.
Yeah, also because I think back when I remember they were trying to focus all the shot calling on Bjergsen, and that season I believe was when LMQ went on their super hot streak and then made it to Worlds in that summer, I think 2014.
Yeah.
And that was one of the Bjergsen's like worst seasons mechanically, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I definitely think you have a point where being able to shift that burden of shot calling, in terms of the macro plays, is going to be something they're going to have to deal with, especially if they're going to have to also find a new coaching staff, if Weldon isn't continuing with TSM again this year.
Yeah, he no longer is. He actually just
Yeah.
recently released a video about
all the costs
his
and everything.
departure from TSM.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think that Weldon leaving is going to be that big of an issue, especially considering that they're bringing in like a totally fresh non-veteran face to TSM. I mean, there are going to be so many other things to work on, and I'm sure if they need to bring him in for a couple sessions or something like that, he'd be more than happy to. So, but anyway, Reza, do you know what the deal is with this upcoming match? What was the final verdict?
Yeah, so we were waiting until 11 p.m. Or well, the semifinals match that we were going to cast. Yeah, but the room expired 15 minutes ago, so they actually just decided to forfeit. So we just kind of been rambling on a bit. But
were you casting another game tonight, or?
I don't believe so. So.
Oh, so we've just been talking.
Yeah, just kind of been going on. I mean, I was having a good time, so I wasn't gonna
dude, I mean, hey,
bring it
I'm
to
totally down to converse. I was just wondering what the deal was for the 5 other people that aren't us that are watching. We gotta let them know what the deal is here.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know if I addressed it in the chat. So, but yeah, they did actually decide to forfeit. That was Team 8 forfeited to Feels Bad NA. So they're about to feel pretty good. They're gonna get a pass to the finals.
Man, that's so disheartening. I really feel for Team 8. Like, that would be the worst way. I mean,
man.
Here I can go and talk about, you know, me feeling sorry for myself. But we actually got to play. I mean, that's unfortunate. Internet issues aren't a thing that you can really account for. It's a shame that that's the situation. But I mean, I guess a bittersweet congratulations to Feels Bad NA Team 9.
Yeah, they did make it through. And to be fair, out of the group stages, they're actually 5-0 compared to Team 8, who is 3-2. So Feels Bad NA were the favored candidates going into this. I was super excited to see the matchup, in particular though, because their mid laner captain, Come and Get It, she plays a lot of Karthus mid, which is really interesting, and I think I've casted them 2 or 3 times, and in at least 2 of their games, she's pulled that one out and just completely destroyed the enemy team in terms of damage dealt. And that part of that is maybe just a little bit of inconsistency in understanding how to deal with the Karthus in terms of team fights, but in terms of the enemy team, because you have to know how to zone properly and not get caught in that death-defied passive state. But Come and Get It has been really good with that, and I was really excited to see if she was willing to pick that into a assassin-dominated meta with the likes of Kha'Zix and Rengar. But maybe we'll just have to wait.
I mean, you and I were both subject to a Larry Zhang's Karthus top. Like, that was... I mean... Talk about Karthus mid, Karthus exhaust teleport, Karthus top. That, oh man, what a pain.
We were playing as like, oh my gosh, this guy is just pushing again. And so like, alright, let's try to make a play happen. Oh, there's the Requiem.
I mean, he fed, but like, he was still able to output
the dream
so much
of
damage.
the split pusher. We actually banned Singed all 3 games just because we banned
Singed all 3 games too. Apparently this guy had really good Singe, but I'm a little bitter that we didn't ban out Graves and Kha'Zix, because I was casting your game and I was like, man, Saxa's Graves and Kha'Zix are like really
Yeah, he
good,
was
and he
on
ended
point.
up carrying both games against us too on those two champs,
Oh man.
like in the respective games. Game one was Kha'Zix, game two was Graves. Yeah, but that Karthus, I mean, is his Singed really that? I feel like Singed, it ends up making it a 4v5 to some degree. Like, if you have the macro knowledge to play around a split pushing Singed, you should be able to. I mean, that's why he's not played in competitive or anything like that, because,
Yeah.
you know, you should be able to play around him if you're at a high enough level. I'm wondering if it was really worth the ban, or if the other two bans against, like, I think we banned out his Malzahar top or something like that, because we saw it against you guys too, and it looked equally as annoying. I wonder if just like the jungle Graves or Kha'Zix bans might have been a bit more worth.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because when he played Malzahar and Karthus, we were able to sometimes get picks and try to make something happen around the map. But when you're against a Cinch, he just pops the Insanity Potion, hits Ghost, and then you can't punish him if he just has decent map knowledge, and you would kind of expect that from the enemy team. And we didn't really have the really robust kind of lane swap level ones that LCS teams might have, because I know a lot of top laners in the LCS get like really sad when they can't play champions, just because when you're in a lane swap situation, what are you gonna do if you're singed? Just walk up to
Yeah.
a 2v1 lane and try to fling some minions. I'm not sure if that's gonna work out for you.
Yeah, that might have been a good option to explore. Like, maybe considering, all right, just leave the Singed open. Let's 2v1 and just shut him down entirely and take like a sustain
Yeah,
top for
I
our
wonder if we're
lane.
gonna see more crazy top lane picks like that next season. I mean, we already had like a bunch of games on the important like first Tower Blood kind of patch, and we didn't really see anything like a Singed. But I don't know. I guess kind of goes back to you just if you know where he's gonna go, you can shut that out late game. But
Yeah,
we
I
didn't
think the
want to
meta
risk it.
coming into this like spring split is gonna be fairly similar to what we saw in like Worlds and IEM and whatnot. I don't think it's gonna change too much. Um, there aren't really any like crazy pocket picks that I could speculate. I think it's gonna stay pretty standard. Maybe a couple of the new assassins, maybe some interesting LeBlanc play or something like that, but
Yeah.
otherwise like nothing
I'd
in
be
particular.
I'd be a little surprised. I mean, you still have like a lot of heavy damage junglers, and then just kind of tank top laners being able to soak stuff. So
Right. Jungle needs to get nerfed. Jungle's too strong.
yeah, as quoted by apparently every pro in the scene from that one
Yup.
Reddit post,
Yup. Oh yeah.
which I can't say I disagree with, but yeah.
Alrighty. So do you wanna wrap up this conversation here? I mean,
Yeah, I
what do you
guess so.
wanna?
We've been talking for almost an hour now. It's been pretty fun though, going over a bunch of different topics. Surprised we
Yeah,
still got a few viewers just having us on in the background. I appreciate that. Maybe they just forgot
absolutely.
to close the browser.
Okay,
but
so what would be the next match to look forward to?
in this
Would you say?
tournament specifically,
In the
or
upper, I mean, I guess upper or lower. What is Sprint Speed's next journey in his next step in his casting journey? Where are we
oh
gonna
man.
find you next?
Well, I know Evan Eisenberg is playing on either Sunday night or Monday because I've been talking with him in the chat. I haven't heard back from the other teams yet, but I was really excited for this game just because of that Karthus pick myself. And I've casted this team, Feels Bad NA, a few times already this tournament. I've actually not casted the upper bracket as much as I'd wanted to, just because a lot of the teams have kind of gone ahead and done things. I've been pretty busy on weekends when most teams are playing.
Mm-hmm.
But the finals will be, I believe, next weekend. I'll have to double check with
It
our
is on
lovely
December.
co-president.
It's December 10th, so it'll be next Saturday.
All right, yeah, I just wanted to make sure about that.
Yeah. It's
So yeah,
December.
we'll definitely be checking that out live at the Capital One headquarters.
That's over in McLean, Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. Correct.
Yeah, it's right across the street from Tyson's Corner, so it's like off
Yeah, it's right there. I mean,
exit
a quick
47,
metro,
I believe.
quick metro trip.
Yeah. We usually arrange rides because we need to be able to carry people's like setups and computers and stuff to play there. But yeah, I can
Alrighty then. Well, I
hit you up with
guess
some details. But thanks for joining me for this hour. Trying to use up the rest of my saliva.
go ahead and get yourself a cup of water. You deserve it. You've been rambling on with me about God knows what for the past hour or so.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. My name is Sprintspeed.
And I am Kokmaw. Thank you for joining us. And go ahead and have a good weekend, guys.
Yeah. Keep studying, but please enjoy League of Legends and Pokemon Sun and Moon or Final Fantasy 15.
Oh, absolutely. Final Fantasy 15. Hey, another shameless plug. Go ahead, if you don't have it, go and get yourself Final Fantasy 15. That game is incredible. I've got it up on the TV right now. I'm waiting to get back to it.
All right. I won't hold you any longer. You can go play to your heart's content. And I'll see everyone later.
All right, good night, guys.